Dangerous storms after a night of violent weather. The threat continues this hour. Next on PM Edition, who's in the red zone and who could be?
And Atlanta is in the red zone. We are under a tornado watch until 10 p.m. this evening. What does that mean, and how can you know if severe weather is headed to your house? I'll let you know coming up in a live report.
And I'm Julie Martin, live in Neenah, Arkansas, the site of a powerful tornado coming up. You'll hear firsthand from a man who was in the hardest hit area in this very small community.
We are tracking another round of dangerous severe weather. After a deadly and destructive night of tornadoes, it's starting again. You're watching PM Edition. I'm Nick Walker alongside Vivian Brown. Take a look now at this video. Reports that multiple tornadoes may have touched down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Also, one report indicated that the Middle Tennessee State Hospital has called in all available surgeons. Several cars reportedly flipped upside down on Interstate 24. The interstate actually had to be shut down from the 840 interchange to the Highway 96 exit. And look at this damage. There have been reportedly several casualties and injuries in this area. Again, this is a developing situation that we are closely monitoring, and as soon as we get more information, we'll continue to bring it to you. Let's go over to Vivian now for the latest on these storms as they move eastward.
And they are moving east and still causing the threatening weather here. Tornado watches remain in effect for northern Georgia into the eastern parts of Tennessee, eastern Kentucky until 10 o'clock this evening. The tornado watch that was issued earlier for Middle Tennessee has been allowed to expire because those storms continuing to move away from the middle part of the state. So that is certainly good news that we'd like to share with you. But within the tornado watches, there are still tornado warnings because that line is still pretty potent as it moves across the eastern parts of Tennessee. The tail end of the line over northeastern Alabama into northwest Georgia, Dade and Walker counties in northwest Georgia under tornado warnings right now. Again, in this part of the state, Atlanta, you're not under a tornado warning, but you are under a tornado watch until 10 this evening. And let's go live now to the downtown area. That's where we find our very own. Well, let's go back to you, Nick.
All right. But first, we will take you to Atlanta in just a moment. We want to take you first to Neenah, Arkansas, where the search and rescue operation following last night's tornado has been called off. The Sheriff's Department says there are no more missing persons. Reporter Julie Martin is live in Neenah, which is in the western Arkansas area near the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line. Julie, the community of 5,700 really took a direct hit last night.
Yeah, Nick, rescuers have been going door to door today to make sure everyone is accounted for. At least 3 people did lose their lives in this tornado. One of them here, unfortunately, at the Masonic Lodge in town. This is what's left of it. I want to bring in now Fred Key. Fred is the master here at the Masonic Lodge. First of all, Fred, very sorry for your loss. I know you've had a really rough 24 hours. Talk a little bit about what you witnessed here last night.
It was a very odd situation last night. Like we spoke earlier, the sirens here in the community went off several times, and then there was a pause for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then shortly thereafter there was another alarm, and within moments of that last alarm, the tornado was on the ground. The people inside the building did not have any time to react.
And how many people were in the building?
There were 17 in the building at the time.
And talk a bit about the woman who did lose her life in this event.
She was a very well-known woman in the community. Her husband was a veterinarian locally. They were just pillars of the community. They were just very well known, very well loved, respected.
You were supposed to be here last night?
I was supposed to be here last night, but my daughter was ill. So I stayed at home to be with her, and I only live a mile away, and it's just heart-wrenching. It's just heart-wrenching.
It's got to be very difficult to come here and just look at this building. You said this was a steel-enforced building.
Yes, ma'am. This was a steel-reinforced building with cinder block and concrete, and just to look at it is just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. About the only positive that's come out of it really is the fact that we've been able to recover documents within our lodge that date back to 1850, original documents. detailing the history of our lodge. And
were other folks seriously injured here?
we had nothing serious. We have a gentleman that we think possibly broke his hand. He's needing to go see an orthopedic surgeon. We did have a lady that broke a leg, possibly two, and has some rib injuries. But the rest were mostly scrapes and bruises and just very badly shaken.
And I understand that you were actually staying he was staying in the bathtub. You had reinforced your home, and that's
Yes.
where your family was. Fortunately,
Yes.
you're all safe.
Yes, ma'am.
Fred, thank you so much
Thank you very
for
much.
sharing with us. And guys, that's just one of many, unfortunately, tragic stories here in the town of Mena, Arkansas. We'll be coming to you all afternoon with the very latest on the tornado here, the latest from the National Weather Service, as well as the victims here of this tragedy. Back to you. Stephanie, I'm going to toss it over to you now.
All right. Welcome to Atlanta, everybody. I'm meteorologist Stephanie Abrams. Let's talk about the severe weather that is north of the Atlanta metro area. Right now, we do have tornado warnings in around the Rome and also the Dalton area, northwest Georgia. This means that there's been circulation in the clouds, or a tornado has been spotted. So keep that in mind. And now, as Julie was just mentioning, in Mena, Arkansas, they didn't know what was coming towards them. So this is what I want everyone to do. If you're watching us and you know somebody that's in the south that is in the areas that could see severe weather, you need to give them a call and let them know to be aware so that we don't see what happened in Mena last night. Let's learn what happened in Mena last night and take that to today and make sure that we don't have any injuries or deaths like that. So make sure that people are aware that severe weather is headed throughout the south. We do have multiple watches. Here, the Atlanta metro area is under a watch until 10 o'clock local time. That means conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes until 10 o'clock. And this whole system is moving east, so into the Carolinas as we head into the overnight hours. This is where that threat for severe weather is going to head to. And you know what? Even if a tornado doesn't affect you, these thunderstorms can produce some hail that can damage your car. That's golf ball size hail. And also winds, very strong winds up to 70 miles an hour. That can knock down tree branches. That can cause power outages. So even if you don't get a tornado, Nick and Vivian, there are still plenty of people in the south that could experience damage from these thunderstorms.
And we do see some strong thunderstorms moving toward northern Georgia right now, and there are tornado warnings on them.
That's right. Just issued out of northwest Georgia, southwestern Gilmer County in the north central part of the state. So please be on the lookout here. Pickens County and Gordon counties in northwest Georgia. As you can see, these storms are crossing over state lines now, and they have the history of Doppler radar indicated tornadic activity, and that means a strong rotation in the clouds. And these thunderstorm cells are highly capable of producing tornadoes.
Well, don't change that channel. Right after the break, expert analysis on tonight's severe weather outbreak. Dr. Forbes joins us now with analysis of what's going on. It appears that we're seeing the focus change from, say, the Tennessee and Kentucky area a little bit farther toward the south now with that tornadic threat.
Yeah, a lot of the storms now are beginning to shift into the warmer air just south of the warm front. That's the warm front here that I'm showing on red. North of that, it's in the 60s. Still here and there, they're outlined in red, some tornado warnings, but a big cluster of them, northeast parts of Alabama, northwest parts of Georgia, running through temperatures that are well up into the 70s now as opposed to the 60s as the cold front begins to push into that area. Taking a look here a bit further, we are going to continue to have a greatest threat, in fact, for that area now that's going to run across northern parts of Georgia and northeast parts of Alabama, Nick.
All right, and so we're looking at tornado warnings now that have been starting to fire up around northeastern portions of Alabama, northwestern Georgia. Where do you anticipate the greatest danger is going to be from here?
Well, that's mainly the location is going to push across northern Georgia into South Carolina. I thought I would show you 3D radar of some of the, or high-resolution radar of some of these storms. We go to graphics 14. And look how many outlined in red here. These are all tornado warnings, so there's all sorts of storms there. And you can see a whole lot of the storms have these hook shapes to them that are indicating that the storms individually are rotating. At the moment, none are real strongly rotating. Let's take a look at the velocity fields for that, and we can see a few places. Probably the strongest one is here east of Summerville, the green broad flow toward the north, the red toward the south. So off to the east of Summerville there in the Calhoun area of Chattooga, Floyd, and Walker counties, Alabama, is a strong rotation. A few others as well. Every place you see the reds and greens here, south of Fort Payne, Alabama, and a number of other locations, some up here south and west of Chatsworth, some strong rotation. So we're getting None of them extremely strongly rotation at the moment that you'd be absolutely certain were a tornado, but a lot of little rotations that could briefly spin up tornadoes. So just about any storm now in northeast Alabama, northwest Georgia, you hear the thunder, see the lightning coming your way, see the dark skies. Treat it as if there could be a possible tornado, because these storms could spin up tornadoes very quickly.
Some good advice. Thank you very much, Dr. Greg Forbes. And of course, we'll continue to check in with you. Meantime, stay tuned for coast-to-coast forecast, including Easter Sunday. That's at 20 after the hour. Plus ferocious winds and an abundance of dry early spring grass and brush. It's fuel for fires. And more than 100 homes destroyed in Oklahoma as a result. A weather break today, but the fire threat returns on Sunday. Keep it here.